Hey, little boys and girls, let's take a look at the conclusion of the French Revolution. Title this the Napoleonic Age. All right, the Napoleonic Age. Now, how awesome do you have to be to get an entire era named after you? Okay, that's what Napoleon was able to do. All right, here he is in 1804, taking the crown and putting it on his own head. Okay, he crowns himself emperor. He doesn't let the Pope do it. All right, that shows that he thought he was more powerful than the Pope. All right, now imagine this time in France. They had just killed their king 10 years earlier. So how did they go from that to crowning Napoleon emperor? That's a good question.
My enemies are many, my equals are none. In the shade of olive trees, they said Italy could never be conquered. In the land of pharaohs and kings, they said Egypt could never be humbled. In the realm of forest and snow, they said Russia could never be tamed. Now they say nothing. They fear me, like a force of nature, a dealer in thunder and death. I say, I am Napoleon. I am Emperor.
You gotta admit, he is a scary dude, okay? I don't care how tall he is. Napoleon, he emerges at the end of the revolution as not only as its savior, but as sort of the icon of the revolution. All right, Napoleon is going to sort of be able to craft what he did to save the revolution, all right, into a position where he's able to take over the government. All right, that's called a coup d'etat. All right, a coup d'etat. And he didn't even have to use the military. He just had to threaten with the military because he was over the military. That means they were loyal to him. That is, the army was completely loyal to him. And with that, Napoleon is able to take control of the government and set himself up as dictator for life. All right. Now, this sounds like a bad thing, and a lot of the Enlightenment thinkers, they were highly upset. But the people are going to love him. All right. And here's one of the reasons why. He's going to restore the economy by establishing a national banking system. All right, it's going to make everybody pay taxes, including the first and second estate, or the former first and second estates, because he's going to ban all of that. All right, he's going to establish free public schools. All right, not necessarily everyone got to go to school, but a lot of typically poor people are going to get a chance to go to school during this time period. All right, he's going to restore law and order. All right, this was something France desperately needed after the era with Robespierre and the Reign of Terror. Okay, now this Napoleonic Code. All right, like I said, he banned this whole idea of first and second estate. So I mean, the whole idea of titles and titles, what we mean are like, count that, like if you were a count or a baron, or some other privileged title that came with being part of the nobility. He bans all of that. All right, he's going to have freedom of religion. All right, that is, he's bringing the Catholic Church and opening the door for Protestant churches in France. Okay, during the Reign of Terror, they had gotten rid of the Catholic Church, or tried to get rid of it. All right, and he's going to establish a meritocracy. Okay, it's one of a word that I like here. A meritocracy just means you have to earn your way up. All right, it's not something that's given to you. It's not something you pass down. It's something that you earn from your own sweat. All right, from your own talent. All right, and he sets this up not only in the army, not only in the government, but in various parts of society. It's going to be part of the new change, not just in France, but he's going to impose this all over Europe, and the people are going to love it. All right, now this is going to make his law code probably one of the most influential law codes since Justinian. All right, or maybe even Hammurabi. All right, this is an important step in the development of law, all right, in modern society. Now, the dark side of Napoleon. All right, I mean, there's no other way to say it. The kid loved to fight. Okay, he just loved a good fight. All right, and there were armies all over Europe, and he saw opportunity. He defeated Spain, all right, the Austrians. He is going to defeat every army on the continental side of Europe. All right, on the continental side of the one place he was unable to take that he really wanted was Britain. So all of continental Europe falls under his control. But Little Britain was able to hold him off. Now, that doesn't mean he didn't have plans for Britain. All right, he had eyes on it, and he is going to try to take it. All right, so he rules the continent, Britain rules the seas. We're going to finally have a battle in 1805 where Britain is going to destroy his navy. Once they do, he decides he's not going to focus on naval matters anymore. His expertise was ground fighting, so that's where he was going to keep it. All right, now by 1810, he's created one of the largest land empires since the Romans in Europe. I'm talking Europe here. All right, now as master of Europe, and this is at the same time that Europe is really starting to stretch out and take over other parts of the world, and now all of Europe is under one man's control. All right, so in order to sort of find a way to get at the British without necessarily attacking them, since industrialization was a large part of the British economy, he's going to put a trade barrier on all British goods. Okay, now how it worked was like this. All right, nothing from Britain can come into continental Europe. All right, no one was allowed to buy anything from continental Europe. Now at the same time, the British are going to form a blockade in response so that he can't get any goods out. Okay, so France can't send any goods away, and Britain can't get any goods into continental Europe. All right, so this was a lose-lose situation for both parties in a way. Eventually somebody's going to break away from Napoleon's grip here, and the first place is going to be Russia. They're going to disobey that order not to buy anything from Britain, and Napoleon is going to get so upset he's going to bring 600,000 men to bear on Russia. All right, the Grand Army. And when he comes, by bringing this number, I mean, there's no question that he intends to take over all of Russia. All right. And when he does get there, the strange thing is they refuse to fight. They leave and burn their fields, their cities. All right. Meanwhile, it's getting colder and colder. All right, he's chasing and chasing throughout Russia until he makes it all the way to Moscow, and that's when he finally figured out this is a trap. Too late. Using scorched earth policy, the Russians the old Ruskies, they're going to be able to defeat Napoleon. And when they do, they're going to destroy Napoleon's army. This is really the first tink in his armor that where everything is going to start to just fall apart here. Napoleon is going to barely make it out of Russia, maybe with 50 to 100,000 men. All right. By the time he makes it back to France, the other nations know that he's weakened, and they decide to attack. All right. Britain, Russia, Prussia, Spain, Austria. All right. All of the conquered now, with their chest out. Napoleon tries, puts on his best brave face, but it's too late. Too late. Okay. The key battle is going to take place at a city called Waterloo, and this was over in Belgium. Once he's caught between the Austrians and the Brits, he tries to do his old strategy of split his army in two, fight one half with a smaller group. But the problem is, they've seen that story before. The Austrians crush the little army he sent, and then what remaining army he had left gets crushed by the Brits and the Austrians. Next thing you know, Napoleon is having to abdicate the throne. All right, the French have had enough, and he's forced out of office. All right, now after that, he's gonna be put on a little island in a place called St. Helena in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and I mean squarely in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Here it is, right here. Okay, right off the coast of good old Africa. All right, in the middle of nowhere. Now, he's going to spend his remaining 6 years of life there until he dies in 1821. All right, so Napoleon, gone. Europe now has to figure out how to put the pieces back together. All right, and they have something called the Congress of Vienna, and they try to restore a lot of the old ways. All right, Prince Metternich of the Austrians is going to lead this push. All right, he had 3 goals for the Congress of Vienna: restore the ancient regime, that is the old regime. That means let's bring back the old kings, okay, the old monarchies. All right, so relatives of those monarchs, whoever he could find, let's put them back on the throne. All right, then let's set up some type of diplomacy so that we can avoid future wars. Okay, perfectly good goal. And establish a balance of power so there's never another Napoleon or another time where France can get the best of everybody. All right, they wanted all the nations to kind of have a relative power to their neighbors. Sounds good. Everything was, sounds like it should work. Backfires. 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 Alright, all of this leads to nationalism throughout Europe. Alright, and in other parts of the world as well. So, this is Napoleon Bonaparte's legacy. Alright, but he is still considered one of the he only ruled for like 16 years, but he's considered one of the greatest generals in the history of the world. He's going to have a huge impact, a huge impact on Europe, the Americas, the Caribbean. His footprint was large. That is Napoleon. I got one more thing I need you to do. All right, definitely in my top 5 of world leaders. Now, critical thinking. All right, all I want you to do, no questions tonight. Just write me a paragraph, 1 paragraph. All right. State your opinion on Napoleon's legacy. That is, was he a hero, a good guy who did a lot of good, or was he a tyrant? Either way you want to go, what I need you to do is provide historical evidence to support your opinion. All right, give me factual evidence that supports what you believe. Thank you. See you tomorrow.